Hello everyone! Welcome to this week's Naked Truth. Trisha Hershberger here, and let me just tell you, this lip stain that I tried out is like the most heavy-duty thing ever. I've been trying to wipe it off for the past hour or so to stick with the no makeup, but I can't get this off, so I guess that'll have to be stuck with us for this Naked Truth vlog. Thank you to everyone who sent in Naked Truth vlogs last week, which were a ton of you. Everyone had something to say on this. So thank you to Nathan, Eric, Jacob, Kim, Cameron, Romeo, Pat, Robert, Michael, Zach, Grant, Tunari, Julia, Prescott, and Kristen, Patricia, Patrick, John, Lawrence, Danny, and Liam. You guys all rock. So for this week, this was actually an anonymous submitted question / topic for the Naked Truth. And I thought, you know what, we've been doing some pretty controversial kind of heavy stuff lately. Let's do something that is still a very serious topic, but a little less controversial. And so here's the topic suggestion. The very idea of the Naked Truth seems to be about vulnerability. Putting yourself out there without makeup or fixing your hair or wearing trendy clothes and then lowering your shield to give your viewers a peek into the real you. How do you find the courage to do it, especially given how cruel and unforgiving the internet can be? Why do you do it? You could vlog about anything, but you chose to do it in a way that exposes your vulnerability. What advice for others do you have on facing their vulnerabilities and on opening up to people? So, I mean, why I do it, I know I addressed this in the Naked Vlogging episode number 1, where I got this crazy idea to do this. But I really did it because it was all about conquering fear. And so I thought, rather than call this episode The Naked Truth on Vulnerability, let's spin it around to the positive side of it and do The Naked Truth on Courage. So, okay, in a nutshell, I think there's 3 things you can do to build up your courage when it comes to a fear that you're facing, that's something that you're legitimately worried about or concerned about. I think first you have to admit to yourself that this is something that scares you, which is hard to do. I mean, we all want to be, no, I'm strong, nothing frightens me, grrr, I have this wall of defense. But in reality, we all have things that get to us. And one of the big things that got to me was putting myself out on the internet every single day and having people just critique who I am as a person. People who have no idea who I am. They've never met me in real life, but because of one thing I said or the way that I look or the way that I sound, they've decided that they're going to judge me and I have to hear about it by reading their comments. And that really frightened me. So admit to yourself that this is something that freaks you out. You know, and then I kind of got the idea to do this naked vlogging thing because everything we see in the media, at least in traditional media, is very photoshopped and very polished, and people are reading off of prompters that a whole team of writers and PR people have put together the exact right thing to say. And so when we see people on YouTube or we see people in real life, it's easy to hold them to the same standards as what we see in traditional media. And at least what I do on the internet is not the most polished. A lot of times it's off the cuff. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to go balls to the wall in the other direction, and I'm going to make a show where my hair and makeup is not professionally done. In fact, it's not done at all. And I don't have a prompter in front of me. I'm just going to go off the cuff, and I'm just going to be me. Exactly the way that I was made, exactly the way that I'm here, with no fronts. And so, you know, I think that being vulnerable and just being yourself is being real. And that, for me, was facing my fear head on, was to say, this is as real as I can get, and I'm going to put it on the internet. The next thing I'd say after you accept to yourself that, like, this is what it is that I'm scared of, before you go ahead and, you know, jump out of a plane or whatever it is that your fear is, make sure you understand the risk associated with that. I thoroughly thought about the fact that I'm going to be naked on the internet. And even though you're not seeing the juicy bits, as, you know, some like to say, it's still something that could have a negative connotation associated with it. I'm putting myself out there with no makeup for people to say, you know, I see that blemish, I see that scar, I'm not doing my hair. I mean, I'm putting myself out there for people to be like, oh, she's fugly, or, you know, whatever. And for people to say that I say the word too much because I'm not reading it out somewhere, and for people to say that I'm using incorrect grammar. The list goes on. Blech, not perfect. And that's okay with me. And so I had to say that at this point, the third thing that I'd say to you is focus on what it is that you can control in the situation. Obviously, outside factors are going to freak us out. I'm being a very big control freak. Anything I can't control flips me out. So what can I control? I can control how people view me. I can't control what judgments they make, but I can control how I put myself out there. So I chose, if this is my fear, I'm going to conquer it head on, and I'm just going to go out there and do it. And yeah, it's going to be scary. People are funny because in the comments they're like, oh, you can see how much more confident you've gotten vlogging naked since the first one. And I guess in some ways I have, but in a lot of ways I still, before I start every one, like today, I was like, oh, I can't get this lip gloss off. Oh no, what are my viewers going to say? What's the Naked Army going to say? And then I think, you know what? This is me today. This lip stain today is me. And I'm just putting me out there. So my question to you guys is, when you are faced with some kind of fear and you feel the need to conquer it, what do you do? I mean, vulnerability for me was my solution because my fear was being so harshly judged. So what are your fears and how do you go about combating them? Let me know that in the comments section. Please continue to submit vlog topics. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you submit a topic and I don't get to it the next week, I keep them all in a little file. So I may come back around to it at some point. I will most likely have a guest next week, so make sure that you tune in for that as well. And have a great week, guys. I can't wait to see what the Naked Army has to say. All right, bye.